Alrighty guys, what is up? Welcome back to another live stream with LD7, and today we are going to be playing some modded Satisfactory. That's right, we're going to be playing Satisfactory. We're going to be playing it with mods. It's going to be awesome. Alright, so let's switch over to game view. Well, maybe, if my macro will work. JK. Didn't mean to trick you out. No, we're actually going to look at Satisfactory. Assuming this game capture works. Give me a sec. Streamlabs, why are you... Oh. Duh. Give me a second, guys. I apologize. I thought I had updated this, but there we go. Game view is now turned on. Alright, Satisfactory, Early Access. We're doing Satisfactory, Early Access version 0.5.1.8, build 176027. So that is the version of the game we are playing, base game version anyway. And then if we go into our mods tab here, I am using Satisfactory Mod Manager to load all this stuff in. So these are the mods we're playing. So this is the base game. Buildable Resource Nodes. This, Common Libs, Efficiency Checker mod is one of them. Buildable Resource Nodes is one of the mods. Efficiency Checker is one of the mods. Refined Power is one of the mods, and as a part of Refined Power, you get Modular UI, Refined R&D, Library, and then this might be part of either Refined Power or Buildable Resources Nodes. I don't know. But the three mods we're playing with on this playthrough are Refined Power, Buildable Resource Nodes, and Efficiency Checker. I wanted to try out some mods just because there are several of them. And, I mean, not since playing modded Minecraft, like literally, is the only other game that I've played that has as easy access to modding as Satisfactory does. So, like, I figured, why not? Let's give it a shot. So we're going to start a fresh save. We're going to call this stream, or modded stream, lol, modded stream 1, because it's a modded game, on stream, it's the first one. We'll just leave it on private, that's fine. At some point I might update this, so yeah, we're going to skip the intro because I have played before, and I am going to start in the grassy fields. The buildable resource nodes will make this kind of an interesting place to start. I could do rocky desert, however, due to the water. Ooh. That's kind of tempting. Maybe we'll do rocky desert. Let's do the desert. Let's do the desert. We'll skip the intro, start game, modded stream 1. Awesome. So we've covered our mods. We're playing with 3 of them. Refined Power, Efficiency Checker, or Monitor, whatever. And Buildable Resource Nodes. Now the reason why I picked these, Refined Power basically changes the mid to late game of Satisfactory quite substantially because it changes how you can generate power, which is interesting in and of itself. It focuses, or it adds renewable power generation into the game more so, and in addition to that, it adds in modular power, which is kind of interesting. So basically it's a mod if you like building power stations, which is one of the things about Satisfactory I really do enjoy, is building the power stations, if I'm honest, because they're, even though it's straightforward, place the building, connect the wires, you'd think it'd be easy, but it's not always that easy. Like, they get reasonably complex very quickly, and it's cool. But anyway, here we go, Rocky Desert. We are in the world. We're going to go run over, pick up some barrel nuts, kind of just take a look-see. I do kind of want to go down by the ocean. Since we are starting here, we should be close to the ocean. This is a river, which is good to make note of, because there are hydroelectric generators from Refined Power. I'm going to end up calling it Renewable Power, and that's not the name of it. It is Refined Power. I believe the description of the video has the mod name listed correctly. If I say it wrong, I apologize. That's just me trying to talk. But okay. Beyond that, we're just gathering some basic food. As we kind of scout out a location for a base. I should equip my weapon. I'm going to do that over here, away from that little Caragor-looking dude. It's not actually a Caragor, but that's what they look like. Lol. Am I actually headed towards the ocean right now? That is a good question. Yeah, I don't believe you get a map, necessarily. I think the ocean is this way, however. If not, it's okay. We don't necessarily have to be right on water. For our main base, we can put our power station over by the ocean. because we are going to need to pump some water, even with buildable resource nodes. Like, we need water in order... Like, you can build water resource nodes as well. That is a thing you can do with that mod. So here's some iron. That's good. That's more iron, more iron. Awesome. So 3 iron sources. And what else have we got? So, yeah, I think this is meant to be the ocean. Big body of water either way. So plenty of water for extraction right here. Perfect. I'm just looking to see... I could use my little scanner. I'm just kind of jumping around to begin with. So that's limestone right there. So cool. Let's go take out these little buzz boys, is what I like to call them. I don't know what they're actually called. I'm sure they have a name. A proper name, that is. Get rid of them, because I do plan on harvesting this node. Take the carapace so it does not respawn. If you don't take the carapace, it will respawn. I believe, is how the regeneration mechanic on those work. From my experience, like, I've had it respawn when I forgot to take the carapace almost every time, and then if I take the carapace, it's never respawned on me, so, yeah, there's that. But there's limestone, cool. Limestone and iron, those are the 2 primary things we're going to want getting started. So let's go ahead and place our hub, maybe like right here in this basin, kind of like a seaside resort. It will be close by to the water and kind of where we're going to do our early game stuff. We might move this later after we build some foundations, but we can't even do that yet because we don't have anything unlocked. But let's go in, take a look at tier number 1. So in addition to the basic ones, which are base building, logistics, and field research, so these are the standard milestones, we also get basic buildable resource nodes, which allows us to build all of these various things. So we can build all the various purity levels of limestone, iron, and copper nodes as a resource node after doing this research, which requires 500 of each of the respective ores. Then we also get refined power Mark 1, which gives us the wind turbine Mark 1. So I'm mostly interested in getting this one right off the bat because I want to try to go wind power to power our early game factory as much as possible. I don't know. I want to see if that's viable or not. We'll see. Then in tier 2, we get more refined power automated biomass burner. Basically, it just has a conveyor belt, so you can automate the input of that, which is helpful. So, okay, let's go ahead. We're going to set this. We're going to aim for refined power Mark 1 to begin with. So we need to gather some iron. What I'm going to do at the same time, I am going to come over here and just drop 2 of these bad mamas on the limestone. That way we can start harvesting up a little bit so we can make some concrete, because I plan on doing foundations after this refined power milestone, because foundations are useful to us. I'm just re-equipping this because, generally speaking, when you encounter enemies, it's because they're guarding something of value. So, like, they put the enemies near the points of interest. So, like, there's another little buzzboy hive between those 2 iron nodes, but we can access this one quite safely. So we're going to just access this one for the time being. We'll eventually clear out those enemies. But we need to get some iron so we can make some starting ingots. And then from there, what we can do is get some iron plates and iron rod crafting up and running. We could build smelters. Like, if we go around, there is quite a bit of foliage around this area, which is also quite nice. So we can gather up a bit of biomass just to get some starting power, so we don't have to craft all of our rods and whatnot by hand like a scrub. We can use an actual constructor. Even though it won't be fully automated because it won't have inputs quite yet, because we aren't going to build all the miners right off the bat. We will be able to expand that later. But that is the copper node right there. So there is all 3 resources right in this area. That's perfect. We will start here. We'll be able to build these 3 resource nodes. After we gather 500 of each respective ore type, we'll be able to build those nodes wherever we want in the world. Thanks to the Buildable Resource Node mod. So that will be kind of cool. But let's go... Well, we need iron, so let's just maybe gather this. We're eventually going to put a miner on top of this. That is something we're going to prioritize relatively early on, I think iron production is something you're always needing a ton of, so we'll take all the ore out of these two, and we'll go start like building a couple things over here. We'll pick up the limestone as well. Those miners are probably full, but not a big deal. It should be a lot of fun. I'm quite excited. So kind of the idea with this, while I'm gathering this stuff and kind of doing basic early game stuff, which is pretty much the same as the base game, I'll kind of explain what the plan is. So kind of the idea with this series, or this playthrough of the game, is I want to experience what the refined power and buildable resource nodes mods have to offer, as far as, you know, improving certain aspects of the game. Like, sometimes it's super annoying. You need more, like, you need a ton of iron, right, in order to make your refined iron at a quick rate and everything like that. And the way to get enough iron is you have to access iron nodes with miners and automate your inputs, right? Well, basically, there's a fixed number of nodes of iron in the entire game, and that's for every game because the map is generated the same for everyone. So, like, if you wanted to play along with me, download the same mods and find this spot on the map from the Rocky Desert spawn, have at. You could do literally the same thing, and it would go the same for you as this playthrough. If you so desired, you could do that, as you could do with anybody else's playthrough of the game. With that being said, there is, like, being able to build the like, early game, you don't have access to trucks, you don't have access to trains, you don't have any access to really fast means of getting items transported long distance. So you're kind of limited to whatever nodes are within, say, 500-600 meters of your base, and even that is stretching it a little bit for conveyor belts, but you could maybe make that happen. Beyond that, you kind of need trucks or a rail system in order to transport the materials. So, yeah, you don't get that until your phase 3, phase 4, or for trucks it's phase 3, I believe. For rail, it's actually phase 5 or phase 6, if I'm not mistaken. So it's pretty end game stuff. Like, that's, if we look at our little milestone terminal here, select milestone, you have to finish. So to get 3 and 4, you have to finish the first phase space elevator. That's pretty easy to do. Okay, not a big deal. To get 5 and 6, you have to finish the second phase of the space elevator. Also not necessarily a big deal, but it takes a long time if you're limited by the amount of nodes you can, you know, kind of get back into your base for production or transport into the space elevator to send up, even, within a reasonable amount of time. Because the buildings that produce the items you need to put in to complete phase 2, you get one out of the, like, an assembler is what's used, or a manufacturing facility or whatever is used to build it. You get one item, it takes 60 seconds to craft that item, right? So unless you build 100 of those buildings, you're not making that item very quickly. So anyway, being able to build the resource nodes where you want so you can scale your production without needing to worry about traveling another 2,000 kilometers in-game walking is why I installed like the build your own resource nodes, because I figured that would come in handy later in the game. Like, the nodes we have here are actually pretty good, I think, but just in case, we can build more. All we have to do is ensure that there's a little bit of ore left over in our automated production. So, like, when we're mining this iron and limestone and copper and what have you, we need to keep 500 or a few hundred of that ore. So, like, basically put a splitter on the output of your miner that fills a cargo box. And yeah, initially you'll be down 60 per minute if you use a Mark 1 belt on your total input to your factory. But once that cargo box is full, which will give you all the ore you'd probably ever need as far as building the nodes are concerned, because I believe they do just cost ore, like the respective ore. You need a few hundred of that ore in order to place a node, which is not, like, it. I don't know if that's balanced. Is what it is. Like, it's a mod, so yeah. Quality of life is why I installed that one. Refined power, kind of the same thing. My biggest thing with the current state of Satisfactory Update 5 is the gap between biomass power to coal power is too large, in my opinion. Like, it takes too long to traverse. You need roughly 4 to 600 megawatts of power in order to comfortably get into oil refining and coal power, I feel like, without having any shutdowns of your grid and all that noise. But yeah, doing that with biomass burners is quite a substantial task because you only get 30 megawatts of power or max power out of each burner, so you need 20 of them always running, which in the base game is not very easy to do, primarily because if you're using top tier fuel, which you should be, it's worth setting up a small set of constructors to convert your wood and leaves into solid biomass or whatever to put in your biomass burners. So do that if you're not already. But beyond that, you need to have a ton of that. Filling 20 inventories is 20 times 200, so that's 4,000 solid biofuel you need for every consumption of 200, which I believe it consumes 4 per minute. So you'd go through 200 every 50 minutes. So every 50 minutes you need 2,000 solid biofuel. That's quite a bit if you think about it. So think about it. Are you going to be able to get oil to coal power or oil refining within an hour? If the answer to that question is no, then you're going to have at least 4,000 solid biofuel in order to comfortably run your factory to get you to coal power or at coal power tier, roughly speaking. Like you have some refined iron being made automatically, you have some rotors being made automatically, and then you have constructors for all the base materials, and that's it. You need about 400, 500 megawatts of power to do that, and doing that with biomass burners sucks. So I wanted to try out refined power and see if the wind turbines are a viable alternative to biomass burners for that early game power generation. And I'm also quite interested in the modular power generation. That comes a little bit later in the game. I believe those are unlocked either tier 4 or tier 5. It's later in the game. So I'm quite excited for that. However, since we can build iron, copper, and concrete nodes, and then later on we can do coal nodes and Caterium nodes, quartz. Like, we can build all the resource nodes thanks to the Buildable Resource Node mod. We can basically build like factories and power stations wherever we want, and localize them into interesting places as a result of the mods we're using. So I'm really looking forward to this playthrough. I think it should feature some really cool looking building concepts and locations that you maybe don't see in base playthroughs of the game. So that's why I'm doing it. A little bit different experience, keep the game fresh. I like the base game, don't get me wrong, love it. I've played enough of it to like it a lot, and want to continue playing the base game, which I will, but I wanted to try out some modded. Just give it a try. Give it a new feel. But I figured, why not share it with all of you? And that way, if you're curious about any of these mods or trying out modded Satisfactory, you can maybe get a taste, a little sample, by watching someone else play, figure it out, and deal with the resulting frustrations or what have you. It should be quite enjoyable. Satisfactory is, in general, a fairly chill game. It's only when you do things, like when you get over ambitious on trying to claim resource nodes from the various hostile entities in the game or whatever. That's the only part that sometimes will get a little frustrating if you die. You have to go and get your grave, so you don't have your stuff until you do that, which is annoying, but not a big deal. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We won't get overconfident, he says, knowing full well that in 3 or 4 episodes or 3 or 4 streams, we're almost certainly going to die to like a Caragor pack overrunning us because we were overconfident and dove in headfirst to try to claim whatever resource node without thinking, oh, hey, we're not geared up for this. That's okay. I'm just making some biomass. That's the best we can do at this point. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to use the generators on the back of our hub. The hub building has 2 biomass generators that you can fill up. So right here. So I'm going to fill both of them up because we're going to use both of them just until we get the basic power so we can do some other stuff. So let's throw down a constructor. Actually, the way we should do this. Put them both into a power pole. Branch that pole off like this, and then break that off. This infrastructure here is going to change. The other infrastructure can stay, however. We're going to change this recipe actually to iron plates. They take longer to craft by hand, so we'll throw in 100 iron plates, let that do its thing, and then while that's doing its thing, we're going to go in here and make some iron rods. We only need 150, and the iron rods are only 1 second per tick, whereas the iron plates are 3. So I figured we'd make the rods by hand, and then we'll go grab the iron plates out of the constructor and see where we're at. I am going to make a few additional iron rods beyond the 150. Like, I'm going to finish out the stack of iron ingots and then make another 100 iron ingots to refill that constructor to make us more plates. Is kind of what the plan is. So maybe we'll just finish out this stack. It's fine. You need iron rods to build the storage containers and various like power poles. I believe use them as well. So like you need them for things. So we don't want to spend all of them just on research if we can avoid it. But let's go ahead and plonk in our 150. So there we go. Half of the milestone requirement is done. We're going to make some more iron ingots so we can drop those inside of our constructor to produce us some more iron plates. Kind of go from there. I don't want to use all this iron ore because, like, if I can, like, when we go over and gather the ore out of the extractors that we have going, or the harvesters, we'll have another 200. We need 500 of each of the various ores in order to actually do the research to be able to build those resource nodes. So what I can do is if I get the 500 iron and limestone, like I'm only 200 limestone away from being able to do the limestone. So I could grab the limestone, move those two over to copper, and then once we have the 500 iron, move like one more over to the copper, and we'll be able to get that relatively quickly and unlock the 2 modded milestones right off the bat. Yeah, we need to do foundations and stuff, so really we need the limestone in our bag right now in order to make the concrete we need to unlock the foundations or the base building milestone, I believe. But that's fine. We're doing it a little bit differently, mainly because I want to get windmills up, so that's why I prioritize this. But there we go. Put in some more iron, get some iron plates. We're almost where we need to be on the iron plates. I'm going to go gather the iron real quick and let that regenerate and kind of produce more plates for us in the meantime. Because I want these to produce us another... So right now we've got 300 ore. I can use this 31 and make 31 more ingots. That'll give us 53 total iron ingots. And then when I come back over to pick those harvesters up, we'll have the 500 iron ore that we need to do the resource node research, which is what I want to do. So, okay, cool. We only need 5 more plates. I just wanted to drop those ingots off. We'll make 31 more iron ingots just to get the ore out of our bag. Starting off, you only have, like, you don't have a ton of inventory space, so having a half stack or 31 stack of something like iron ore is inconvenient because it takes up inventory space. I could put it in a storage bin, but I'll never use it again is the thing. So like turning it into ingots like this is worth doing, I feel. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Let me know in the comments or in live chat if you're watching this delayed and then switch to live or something weird. If you agree. Okay, let's go grab the limestone we're gonna need. we're gonna go get the iron real fast. Because I want to have a little bit more so we can finish the research. That way the pod can start returning. We're going to select the next milestone so we can see what we need. This is the one we want. It won't let me put that in until the pod's back. That's fine. Alright, so this is still doing its deal. Making us plates, which is good. We're going to need a lot more than 25 iron plates to start building the basic factory, which is fine. We'll be able to get more here soon enough. I just want to get this basic research finished up before we get too far ahead of ourselves. So these are not quite full. Let's go ahead and do this because I want to have a little bit of extra iron ore in order to make maybe a few more plates than the 25 we have, so we can build like a couple of constructors and things, and like the miners and stuff like that. So we'll let these generate for a moment. Looking around. So those are iron. I guess what we can do while those are generating, let's go clear out the copper ore. Because I believe there are some more of those buzz boy looking dudes. Yeah, there is a little hive. Let's clear them out. Let's do it, bug bees. Come get some. Gonna get zappied. And go flying. Like a... I don't know. The mechanic on that is interesting. I'm not sure. Looks funny. But, okay. Let's go ahead and eat some barrel nut. Cool. Re-equip. We'll grab this little bit of copper. How much does it cost to actually build a miner? Not that bad. Okay.
Milestone exchange concluded. Fix-it freighter re-entry complete.
Cool. We got our freighter back, so that's awesome. What we shall do, that gives us a 530. So that's 600 ore. Let's go ahead and pick up this miner. I'm going to leave that one be for now. And I'm going to put this one over on the copper. So it can start while we go harvest up the limestone. Or, well, first we're going to drop some stuff out of our pack so we have inventory space. Then we're going to go harvest limestone, pick up those miners at the same time, and go from there. So we got more iron plates. Awesome. This can go back in our hand. Go in my hand. Thank you. There we go. We'll drop in the limestone and the iron. Cool. That just gave us 10 inventory slots. Yay. Pick up. Pick up. Awesome. And we're going to... I think at this point what we're going to do, since the iron plates are almost done, we're going to switch this over to concrete. And we're going to throw in some limestone and make some concrete. Because we only have like 50 concrete. We don't have a whole lot. We're going to need some more concrete to build constructors in addition to the iron plates. Like, we have some iron plates, but we'll need more of those too. It's fine. Not a big deal. What I need to do... place these. Easy peasy. Have 3 of them going. They'll gather us some copper reasonably quickly. There is another copper node right here, as a matter of fact. You know what? I think I'm going to just clear this dude out now. Why not? Where? Not doing so good against that one. Is this glitched? It looks like it's glitched. Shoot, they'll probably respawn. That's a shame. Oh well. what can you do, right? Maybe not be a scrub and take them out faster. I know I ate some extra nuts, but we've got so many. We're just flexing on you, eating so many nuts. Lol. Okay. Now let's go grab some copper. Almost 300. Just a bit more. This probably is going to need limestone soon. Another thing we should take a look at is building equipment workshop. And this will all probably be moved. Like, I do plan on building an actual base kind of base, not just like a crudely thrown together structure type of base, you know what I'm saying? But let's go ahead and build 2 portable miners so we can actually put like proper miners on these points as opposed to just the scrub lord way of mining. So we'll put one there because we might as well use these. Like, why not? I mean, I guess they're only normal, whereas we could build pure nodes instead, but we're going to need this ore, I think, in order to build those nodes. So might as well just deal with it now. So we'll put the limestone off of that one, sure. Or, well, limestone. This goes in like this. We'll connect the limestone to this one. Okay. Throw that in. Cool. So we're making limestone. What we could actually do here, just to be kind to ourselves, because this is the only thing we're powering at the moment. We are going to string another cable over to the iron node in just a moment, but this is all temporary, but as well. Like, this is definitely going to be moved or covered up or something. But there we go. Start making some concrete. We'll even throw down a storage bin just so we can get more than, you know, the 500 or whatever it is in a stack. What am I doing? There we go. Cool. Alright. So we got this all picked up. I'm just clearing this out because sometimes it's nice to be able to see, like, what's over the hill. Or what have you. So, there we go. Cool. So this is making us concrete. As far as our power goes, we should be sitting fine. Like, we're only running a constructor and a miner. Yeah, 9 megawatts at the moment. How much does it cost to build the refined power? It has its own tab. Cool. Oh, these are relatively inexpensive. 30 rods, 20 iron plates. Okay, so we need a ton of iron is what we need. So let's use what we've got right now to get some basic iron smelting set up. If we can pull it off, let's see if we can. I'm going to just leave one close by that has some space as opposed to maxing out that hole. That's just, I don't know. I'm almost certain that I'm going to want another power access node or whatever relatively soon, so that's fine. We're going to pick this up. If we go grab the copper, actually, we can get the node, like the buildable nodes research done. Yeah, let's do that. Cool. Oh, we didn't quite pick it up. Iron ore. I think I do need, yeah, I need that last stack of copper. Almost certainly. Let's go. Wrong one. Cool. Launch that. And I'm mainly doing that because I want to see what these resource nodes actually cost. So to build an impure is 500, to build a normal is 1,000, to build a pure is 2,000. So I mean, the resource cost, like the impure node, 500, alright, that's reasonably cheap. 1,000 for a normal, that feels reasonably balanced. 2,000 for a pure does feel balanced. So I don't know. although I can place the nodes wherever I want and therefore theoretically infinitely scale my iron, copper, and limestone production or whatever resource input production, um, I can do that, but that's assuming I have a ton of the base resource just chilling on hand as it is, which means that I have to have automation going for the resource to begin with. Um, so, yeah, you have to walk all the way to the super distant, like 20 million kilometers away or whatever, to get Caterium ore, to get the 2000 Caterium ore that you need in order to build a node. Or maybe I guess the way you could do it is you could like um, procedurally step up. So you go to that node that's super far away and just use the portable extractors. You bring 5 of them, drop 5 of them down, and while that's doing that, maybe see if there's a power slug nearby or something. Come back, pick up your 500, and then build a node at your base. And then use that node to mine the 1000 to get the normal node. And then use the normal node to get the 2000. Oh, there's a point of interest thing up there. It's annoying that they have that and it voices over and like gets mad at you and whatnot. Um, because like realistically speaking, um, they are not implemented in the game yet. They do nothing. So like, why should I waste my time gathering this at this point? I can't do anything with it. Literally, it just takes up an inventory slot that I'd maybe want for something else. So, yeah, that's just me though. I don't know if there is actually a consequence. Like, what would be cool? And since they are still implementing it, if someone that actually works on Satisfactory ends up watching this, an idea for you, if you guys haven't already kind of figured this out. What you could do on this is announces that fix-it personnel are closing in. Maybe have like combat dudes show up and attack your factory or something to come gather the node. Like they come to harvest the node, but since they see your factory, they come and like try to steal your resources or like damage your machines or what have you. I don't know. That could be an interesting mechanic. Um, but enough waffle. Let's go ahead and place our 2 constructors. They're not in line. I was trying to get them to snap. They wouldn't, and I gave up. So, there we go. I don't have access to splitters yet, however, so that may be an issue. What we could do, get around that once we get 500 ore in our little box. We could build a second node and just put a second smelter. I mean, technically this could run, that one mine could run 2 smelters. But that's fine. Technically one smelter could run 2 of the rod factories as well. But that's also fine. Whatever. We'll throw in, on the rods we don't maybe need quite as many at this point in the game, so we'll actually automate the iron plates, which I should have built that belt first. What a dummy. Big dummy. Right here. We'll throw in the iron ingots. Not a problem. I think I need 17 iron plates in order to build the belt, so we'll just let that turn over. Not a big deal. And basically the reason why I'm doing this, I need iron rods and iron plates in order to build the wind turbines, which is how I plan on powering my early game factory. Wind turbines cost iron plates and iron rods, so if we get 2 production lines going that make us the resources to build the power infrastructure, we can then go forward and build the power infrastructure relatively quickly. Or that's the thought anyway. We'll see if it actually works out that as easy as that. Or not. But, whatever. There we go. Iron plates will now be made automatically. We need to connect this to power. There we go. Give him some ingots. Good sir. Maybe I can sneak some out of here. Not really. There's not a lot in there. Oh well, that's fine. We'll get a little bit of stuff made. Really what I should do, let's go clear out this hive and just put a miner on one of these. Because until I get the basic logistics milestone, I can't build splitters. So even though I have more than enough iron coming in from the single miner that I've got to power both of those constructors or feed both of those constructors, I can't actually get the resources to where they need to go yet. Because that requires me to split one belt into two. That's alright, though. Not a big deal. We are out of iron plates. That is more of a concern. Is there a good snap point? Snap point. Perfect. I am going to need to go make some copper, it looks like. And like some wire and cable and blah blah. But let's grab these plates and get this connected first so this can start. Where am I? Right here. Conveyor belt's too long. Fine. There you go. So this is slowly starting to build or stockpile ore, so that is good. I am just going to throw the remaining iron ore that I have in there. Got a bit of copper. That's kind of handy. Let's take these rods. Let's take these plates. We only have 15 plates, so we could put down our first turbine, potentially. Let's go make some more cabling and kind of see what the next. So I kind of want to get foundations unlocked before I build a ton, like the big wind farm that I envision. So we need 200 concrete and 100 plates and 100 rods. So the concrete we might actually have, since we built this a little bit ago, almost. Or actually, we do have 217 in our bag. Looky here. Okay, so concrete's done. We just need plates and rods, which the rods are not going to take, like, let's stand here and eat some food so we can recover our health, re-equip our items, look around. Look at that sunshine, nice and bright. There is solar added in from refined power as well, which will be interesting to play with. I really do want to try out renewables in this playthrough as much as possible. So we're starting to stockpile the iron. I threw down this crate because I can use this to build iron nodes in the future. So I've got 3 times 3, 6, 7, 8, so 24 slots. So 2400 will fit in this box, so that means a full box will create 1 pure iron node and have 400 left over. So cool. It also buffers this smelter, which I don't really care about, but great, I guess. I could build a second box next to it, and then I'd be able to build 2 pure nodes and have 800, so 2 pures and an impure, almost 2 pures and a normal iron node every time the boxes are full. But that's okay. I don't think we need that much. I don't necessarily think I'm going to need to place that many iron nodes. Like, having 3 nodes right here is actually quite good. That's quite a lot of iron. Especially, like, if you power slug your miners, and they're Mark 1s on normal nodes, 3 normal iron nodes will give you 150 iron each. So 450 iron input total. So iron ore input total. If you have 3 slugs or 3 shards in each miner, and it's overclocked to the 250% or what have you. So there's 70 plates. It's really just iron plates that we need. That's fine. Let's maybe look at building the copper infrastructure if we can. So copper is a little bit simpler than iron. We can't actually afford it though. What a shame. Sad day. Let's go build some copper wire. Let the iron produce for a little bit. We'll drop off the cable or the rods while we're over here. Then we'll use the craft bench just for a moment to make some copper ingots into cable and wire because we need both of those. We're out of cable, which we need to connect the power poles, so we need that for sure. And we also need the wire to build power poles, as well as the machine, some of the machines and stuff like that take it. I believe so. That's fine. Eventually we'll have a machine that will be making this for us on its own. We just don't quite... We didn't quite have enough copper wire in order to get it built, unfortunately. So this should be fine, however. We'll just do... Yeah, that's probably enough. You get 2 for each build, so we'll get 104. Because I'm just going to drop this ore in the cargo container that I'm going to put in front of the miner that's gathering our copper ore. Just in case I want to build additional copper nodes, then I'll have a box of the building material to do that. And it'd be the same as our iron. When the box is full, we can build 1 pure copper node. So there we go. 28 wire or 28 cable is not a whole lot, but it maybe is enough for now. Should be enough to build a copper facility. I'm thinking. Anyway. Let's go do this. And when I say copper facility, I mean like very basic copper facility. Very early game. Likely all of this stuff will get moved, except for the actual miners. Those will stay put because the nodes are in place. They are in place, so I can't remove that. I could build a node in a different position, but I need to mine enough of that node in order to do that. So there's that for you. Smelter. Next. Whoops. I did not mean to place a pole all the way out there. And now, of course, after it places it 20 years away, it won't... It acts like, oh, you can't snap to that. It's too far away, you maniac. But, okay. That was too much, apparently. We need to put down a biomass. Alright, fine. No copper for us. We need to extend our power first, which is fine. The base biomass burners is enough to run the iron rod and iron plate constructor line. So 2 miners, 2 smelters, and 2 constructors is what that'll run. So, or actually, I guess it's 3 miners and 3 constructors and 2 smelters because I do have concrete going as well. But there we go. Get some rods, get some plates, and let's go build some wind turbines. Now, in theory, these are supposed to be impacted by height, so putting them up higher should actually benefit us a little bit. So what I want to do is kind of go up on this rocky outcrop, because that is above our base. So I'm thinking, hey, maybe this little change in elevation right here will make a difference on the power output. It probably won't. Like, you probably have to go quite a bit up higher for it to matter. Like, maybe if we could get up to the top of that, which I can't until I have base building to build foundations. But that's fine. Let's go into refined power wind turbine Mark 1. So there is one. Now, having foundations makes this spacing a lot easier to gauge, but basically these cannot be within 3 tiles of another wind turbine Mark 1, or else they will produce less optimally. So let's see if that is far enough. I believe it will be. Wind speed 72, efficiency 44. Okay. I think those are right. Oh, these do have two. Awesome. Modded lets you daisy chain. I forget. There we go. So that should be an additional 40 megawatts into our network. Pretty cool UI, honestly. I like that. So capacity is now up at like 70. Decreasing, however. So there is variation in wind speed now, which is kind of an interesting mechanic. Apparently it's new because there is a setting option in the mod folder or whatever to say go to the old wind speed settings or whatever. So apparently it is a newer addition to refined power, but I'm assuming that is why the power dipped down like that a little bit. But that's okay. We now have a little bit more headroom. We probably could plug in the copper stuff that we've got, but I want to grab some more plates and rods first. So we can... Let's go throw the plates in the hub and finish the base building milestone so we can build the foundations like we want. Then we'll focus on building a big... we'll focus on building like some structure and everything to place our wind turbines on. That's what I want to do. And now, since we have base building, we can actually... I kind of want to build up to the top of this little guy right here. Like, we'll build... I want to move this. The ramps, I usually go with that one. The foundations, however, going with the 1 meter foundations is preferable in my mind. Just because if you're doing an elevated structure, then it doesn't clip into the... let's put it in Zoo. That is a quality of life thing that makes ramps, in particular, much easier to build. Make that double. Oops. We're going to move the hub as well. Yeah, I know. If I move it around like this, I can do this. Cheeky cheek. Look at us, we're so cool. Restart. Awesome. Let's go grab a little bit more concrete. We also want to grab our iron stuff real quick. The pod is returning. Let's just open all of these so the exclamation points go away. I want logistics next for the splitters and mergers. So for that, we need to get the copper setup going reasonably soon. But I want to build our power out a little bit bigger. That way we don't have to worry about putting biomass into the hub anymore. So we can break that building comfortably without and by that I mean basically we don't have to worry about it breaking our power every time we take it apart. So we probably have, almost 100 ingots in that one. Not as many in that one. So this already has enough. We could build another iron node if we so desired. It'd be impure, so not really worth doing, I don't think. I think if you're going to sink the resources into building another node, you might as well build it as a pure one, right? Because then you get the most out of it. So like an impure node will yield you 30 per minute with a Mark 1 miner. A normal node will give you 60 per minute. And then a pure node will give you 120. So obviously a pure node just gives you a lot more output. In the sake of iron, a pure node will allow you to run 4 smelters off of a single node with a Mark 1 miner, whereas an impure node will only allow you to run 1. Yeah. So it is quite a big difference. So just bear that in mind. Let's see. So we built up here. I actually don't want to build a ramp here. What I want to do is kind of use this as more like a staircase. So we're going to break these. We are going to bring a power pole up here, however. So this, maybe go right there. I also would prefer to bring that connection up to right here, just so I know that our production lines that we currently have set up are going to be connected to this new source of power that we plan on putting into our base. So right now I'm just mapping out base structures. This is more or less just catwalks or walkways to get me to where I want to go. I'm more or less targeting the center of this. So this is reasonably good, I guess. Let's go to number 5. Let's build a ramp. I can't afford a whole lot of that. We're going to have to do a switchback in order to hit this anyway. So we'll just do that here. Go grab more concrete. I mean, we could break this down to a single wide instead of a double. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. That just refunded us a bunch of iron and copper. Cool. Grab that. We'll go pick up the iron at the same time. Kind of like might as well. And also, while I'm over here, I kind of forgot to put storage containers on the ends of our iron plate and iron rod production lines that we have going over here. And that does actually matter, so... Because basically, without a storage crate, and granted we're coming over here and they haven't been full yet, so I guess maybe it doesn't matter, but if they were full, we're losing production time because we don't have crates connected to hold more than just the machine inventory, you know? So there we go. Alright, grab some stuff. This probably needs a recipe set. Yep. And it needs power. How much power does this actually consume? I don't know. That's fine. We'll deal with that later. Alright, let's go finish our staircase. And I'm actually going to move it back one, since we shrunk this in one tile. If we were to extend the ramp, it'd be out to the right, as opposed to the left, just because that mushroom rock looking thing is in the way. So I'm going to break this in. Just one. So, number 5. 10. And we'll hit number 6. And these are just my hotkeys, like if you have different hotkeys for your foundations or whatever. I'm just using 1 meter foundations and some 4 meter ramps to build this. It looks kind of okay from the side. I don't know. It's not as artistic or as good looking as some of the structures that people make, and that's just because I'm not as good at that kind of stuff as others, but that's fine. I'm content with what I do. There is a purple slug up there, which would be handy to pick up. There are a bunch of dudes that I don't want to clear out, but this should be high enough. We're going to go ahead and build our platform, so to speak, up here. So if we make it... Alright, that's apparently a little bit too big, which is fine. Take those two off. Then what we can do is go to Refine Power, Wind Turbines. Place one right there. One right there. And I believe these will be far enough apart they're not interfering with each other. If I break that. 49% efficient, or 47% efficiency, 48. So it is going up now. Does this need to be one wire, or one wider probably? Okay, here. Let's just break this. The other thing that might be smart is let's mark where the ramp is with a power pole so we don't accidentally fall off the edge. I cannot tell you how many times I've done that by mistake. It's super frustrating when it happens, so try to avoid it this time around. So we've got, if we actually build it out this way instead, and think of it as we're extending this direction as opposed to going like centered, you know? We could maybe go... I think that's where one will have to be. And then 1, 2, 3. And that. Those need to be. I can maybe do 1. I can do 1. Eventually, this whole thing will be filled in and maybe beautified a bit, but that's fine. So there's 3 tiles. If I put one on that square and that square, they shouldn't interfere on power efficiency. Same thing. I can put one right here. And then I do plan on putting one out here. I just don't quite have the concrete to be able to build the foundations to do it. But if we look at these, yeah, these should maybe increase in efficiency the longer they run. Boom. Okay. Let's take a look. Yeah, look at that. 80. It is still increasing. I think that's wind speed. So we'll probably average between 70 and 80 megawatts of power with those 3. And that's only 3 windmills. That's not a lot. I mean, when we go pick up what's in our boxes down there, by the time we get down this ramp, finish plugging in everything and yada yada, we may be able to get up to like 7 or 8 windmills, which would be quite a bit more power. Actually, I want to redo this one. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay. Cool. So now, did the windmills actually plug in? They connected, they're up there, they're spinning, kinda, maybe, a little bit. Fix these various little spots. That'll drive me crazy if I don't deal with it now. So I'm dealing with it now. Okay, there we go. So now they're plugged in at least. I don't know how much power they're actually generating. We need to build batteries, so once we get batteries or access to batteries, that'll help. But there we go. We have 55 megawatts in the system. So we're running everything comfortably at the moment. And I don't know. That might be without the biomass burners even. So, cool. Well, are these going? No, they're still going. They got plenty of biomass. But as you can see, yeah, our capacity is up to 125, so we could go, like, turn the biomass burners off if we really wanted to. Let's go ahead and connect up the copper production and get the machines placed for that. So the way I do my first one, meaning, like, we're going to get splitters with the next milestone, so it's not that big of a deal. It's going to get changed relatively quickly. But what I like to do, we're just going to kind of haphazardly place this at an angle. Make some wire, good sir. Okay, there's that. So this will produce us 30 wire per minute. How much does... Oh, I can't actually build that. I need refined iron. Lolly lol. Okay, fine. We'll wait. Not a big deal. I should scale our power infrastructure at this point anyhow. um, because we're going to need, at some point, like I do have more biomass. Like I've got enough biomass I could refill the generators, but um, I eventually don't want to use the generators on the hub at all in order to power a factory. So in order to do that, I need to build more wind turbines, especially since we're going to be adding a bunch of machines which are all going to consume power. So like a constructor right now, constructing at full efficiency is 4 megawatts of power. So each one of those that we add, if each turbine gives us maybe 20 or it's not even 20, like 12, let's just say 12 on average megawatts. That's only 3 constructors for each turbine we place. So we do need to have quite a bit of them, which means we need to have quite a bit of foundations and quite a bit of space in order to lay them out in a sufficient array so they don't lose efficiency due to being too close to another turbine. Um, but yeah, not a big deal. We should be able to deal with it. We just need. The reason why I'm not doing anything right now is I need to wait for stuff to get made. Like I need more plates, rods, and concrete. I also do need these wires because I need to make more cables, and those take 2 of these wires. But I also need the wires themselves in order to build power poles and such. So yeah, is what it is. We're basically just waiting for machines to do their job, which is kind of the way you want it to be early on. Like I could build a constructor that would turn these wires into cables straight out, but I do want some cable. Well, A, I want some cable, some wire anyway, and B, I can't actually afford to build another constructor right now. So yeah, there's that, but it's fine. But I think what we'll probably end up doing, so since we have the resource node mod, it probably makes sense to try to get to a Caterium node relatively early, just so you can start harvesting the ore to be able to build a pure node somewhere more accessible or whatever. Same with like quartz and coal and stuff like that. Like gathering 500 quartz to be able to build a quartz node would be amazing. Even if it was just impure, it'd be amazing because I don't know. Quartz seems difficult to come by. We can do the plates and the rods. I know we were going to use these for windmills, but getting logistics would be helpful. Then we can automate a lot more of the factory and do things a lot like we can. If we do this now, basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this concrete and the iron that we've got, and we're going to walk up this ramp and go expand out all the foundations as much as we can. If we can place another turbine, great. If not, that's fine. By the time we place all the foundations and walk back down the ramp, there will be more rods and plates inside of our iron boxes down there. Right down there. You can see them from here. Hi, Mom. Nah, Jay. JK. Let's go. But yeah, this is kind of my concept. And actually, I kind of like... Well, outside of the fact that I am... If I die because I fall off of this catwalk thing that I'm building here, I'm going to be mad. But I kind of want to leave these open. And maybe we'll unlock something like windows or glass or something like that. Like a transparent floor or something like that. And yeah, then we could make like skylighting in this walkway. So it's like windmills on a big glass box type of a thing. Or like there's skylights with windmills on the corners. I don't know. It might look kind of cool. That's the idea. And if there aren't windows, which there may not be, I might fill these in the center eventually as well, just so I can walk through with a little bit more comfort. Don't have to hold my breath as much. In reality, I don't I don't need to stick to two directions. We could go out 4 blocks this way. Uh, 4. Boom. Yeah, we'll just do this. Why not? Expand out the platform. It is quite convenient that you can daisy chain the turbines together, so I don't also have to place a bunch of power poles next to these turbines to connect them all up. They just are automatically connected or what have you. Why is this down at like 30%? I don't get it. Are these too close together? No, I think it's just wind speed. I really I guess it's just wind speed. That's annoying, but I guess that's the trade-off. It's renewable, it's free once it's built, but it isn't as consistent or in quite the same abundance as like adding a biofuel generator. It's only 30, but it's a dependable 30, and yeah, 30 is a lot more than 12. But that's okay. We're doing it this way, that way I don't have to mess with solid biofuel. That's the idea. I want to remove that out of the progression, which I can do because I have this mod installed. Can't normally do it. But let's go gather our stuff. There might be enough wire that we could potentially finish the logistics milestone, which would be good. Then we can kind of sort out our copper and iron lines and get things going. Not quite enough. We need like 70 more. That's fine. But basically, I mean, at this point, what we're going to try to do, we're going to get logistics and kind of go through the milestones like you normally would on any progression, right? But kind of at this stage, I want to build up a bunch of wind turbines. Like, think about this. We have these boxes, so like, maybe I'll do 4 of these. And when I get the better turbines, because there are 2 additional tiers beyond the tier 1 that you can place. Okay, that's really annoying. I'm going to go over here so it stops yelling at me. But basically, maybe have 4 of these little bricks or something like that with wind power. And like, I kind of want to scale it enough that wind power will carry me to where I can get to the first little bit of modular power or coal power. Just because that's a little bit easier to deal with as opposed to the biomass burners and gathering biomass, because there isn't a way to automate that. I didn't install any farming mods. I thought about it, but I didn't feel like adding in that in addition to refined power in the same playthrough, just because if that feels like too much change to the game or how you progress and like at a time, if that makes sense. So like, I won't, maybe in a future playthrough we will add in a farming mod with refined power, but I want to show off refined power. So it looks like our capacity ranges from 70 up to about 90 megawatts at the moment. So not terrible. Let's go throw in a few more turbines. We'll go plug them in to the spots that we built up here and see how many that is and how much power we get as a result. Now, when we go back down, we'll subtract out the biomass generator that's on the hub, what that's generating from the calculation of total power, just so we can estimate what our wind power network will do for a little box like this, because this is a relatively easily replicatable structure that I could expand that will look reasonably good. So that might have been the biomass generators actually turning off. I can only afford one more. Okay, fine. Oh, I don't have any cable. Dang it. That drop will kill me for sure. Why, though? Like, these should be spaced far enough apart, yeah? What does this say? Generate from 10 to 30 depending on the height. If more than one is in its range, it will produce less. Okay. So maybe these are too close together. Let's break these real quick. Just place a regular power pole right here. Okay. Now, if I place our central one right in front of that, actually, you know what, let's wait. Okay. So it's outputting about, it's probably going to settle down at 10 at the lowest point. So, okay. So that's generating 10 megawatts. I know it's not suffering from other turbines being too close because there are no other turbines around. If I place one right there, did that decrease? Does not look like it. So, should be able to do that. And now we've got two of them in. Let's see if that's enough to restart our network. It is. Okay, cool. That's good. I want this running because I want the iron. Like, I need the iron out of it, primarily. So, okay, those seem to be fine then. What if we just... I guess we could offset the center one, maybe? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give these an extra space. So, 1, 2, 3, 4... that's not perfect. Oh, I don't have cable to connect this now. Shoot. %0 efficiency. 43% efficiency. Okay, so that one definitely was too close. %37. 36. I think that's just the base, though. So, okay. Do I really need to go all the way out this far? For it not to get mad? That feels like a lot. Looks like it, though. Because that one is producing. Whereas it was not before. So, okay. Fine. Good enough. Let's go get some cable. We glitched into the floor there for a moment. It's fine. It happens. I know, we take damage every time because I'm jumping and trying to go fast. But that's fine. Not a big deal. I do want concrete, and I want the iron goods and the copper goods. And we need to make cable, which I could just do. I think I do have some wire in my inventory, but let's go gather everything first. We might be able to finish the logistics milestone as well. There may be enough. wire in this for us to be able to do that? Yeah, we could do that. Okay. Cool. And then we'll get some more plates and rods so we can build more turbines at the same time. Alright, coolio. Let's go ahead and get logistics, though. I want to get that done. We'll finish expanding the power with the resources that we've got in our bag after that. And then we'll maybe take a look at redoing some of the setups down below. Utilizing the splitters that we just got access to in the mergers and everything, because we can make a way more efficient factory layout than the one we currently have. Particularly on the iron. Like, each of those miners that we have set up could technically run 2 smelters apiece. So we could have 4 smelters running as opposed to just the 2 without increasing our input capacity at all. Like, without changing our input yield. Like, that's what our input yield would be able to supply. And still maintain an optimal efficiency. However, we need to kind of make that happen first. So, alright, let's do this. So technically, those are 1 back, so I should be able to place these like that without impacting anything. Nope, that went to 0 efficiency. Break. And break. Okay. %46 efficiency. If I place one right here, 39, decreasing efficiency, so it's in range of that one. Decreasing efficiency. It's only at 31, but it has a max of 32. What about this one? 33, yeah. Okay. So maybe we'll just put them on the outside edges. There. Okay. So that's only 4. I mean, basically we just increased the size of this structure by a lot. But that's okay, I guess. Huh. So this one... Okay, we'll try that. Nah, that's too close. That is really odd. It really is. Like, I don't quite understand. These should be out of reach of each other, I would think. Can I just not daisy chain them together? Is that what the problem is? But, like, I feel that shouldn't really matter because it's just a power transfer point. It's not actually impacting this stuff. So, okay, fine. Whatever. It's kind of working. Kind of, not really. I could maybe put one in the center. Zero % efficiency. So no, I cannot put one in the center. So let's actually just break this middle structure. There's no need for it. Just trying to be careful so I don't accidentally hit one of the important foundations or the ones that I plan to keep while I'm doing the selector tool on the delete. There we go. Okay. So we got that. I mean, another way we could slice this is, so we did this layer at 74 meters. We could go up a little bit higher and do another layer. And this would ensure that, like, if we go up 5 layers like this, it should increase the windmill efficiency because we're going up higher. And then B, it should, in addition, not impact these windmills on the lower level because it's technically out of its box. I don't know if that's right. So that's a soft clip. So they are 4 blocks tall. Are they 5 blocks tall? No. So they're 4 blocks tall, 5 will clear it. So really we want to make this taller than what we did, because I think it's probably going to count the hitbox at the top as well, or like count the spacing from the top as opposed to the bottom of the structure. So like we went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we are only actually 1, or yeah, we're 1 above, so we need to go up another 4, I think, to be safe on the efficiency issue or whatever. So okay, fine, that'll work. Just build one right here. The efficiency is going down, however. Is that just wind speed probably causing that? Let's actually drag this out just a touch more. Wind farm in the clouds, yo. That's what we're building. Okay, fine. That'll work. We'll put one there. We're quite high up. Go out 8. Okay. I think it's gonna be 7. It may actually be 8. It's actually less. And really, we don't even want that there. Now that I'm thinking about it. There you go. Awesome. So, I mean, these guys are doing like 18. Or they maybe average 14 or something like that. I won't be able to afford it anyway. So let's just go ahead and head back at this point. It's fine. We should have expanded our power by quite a bit just by connecting these windmills that we've done. We're up to 7 now, I believe, as opposed to just the 3 that we had. And some of these are at higher altitude, and they all should be operating with a bit better efficiency than they were before. All of which will hopefully mean we're getting lots of power. It would be good when we, like, once we get batteries, it will be nice that wind power will be a little bit more reliable, because then when the wind speed changes or whatever, you won't maybe have the deviation in your power supply or whatever, because the battery will kick in to kind of maintain it. But there we go. So our capacity is up around 180. It probably maxes around 200, but maybe a minute 120, 130, something like that. So cool. We're doing pretty good on power supply at this point. That should be enough to kind of get our iron and copper parts of the factory set up the way we want them. For the most part, I mean, concrete may be an issue as far as, like, we're going to want a lot of foundations, but yeah, we don't make concrete very quickly. Just looking. So, like, part assembly would be decent to maybe get, so we could get refined iron automated. Field research is decent for the object scanner and the MAM. We'll maybe set field research. Let's go gather up our supplies, however, and kind of see how we're doing. So, our copper, we have almost 1,000 ore banked up, so we could almost place a normal node of copper, which is pretty cool. Iron, we've got a little over 200 plates, almost 200 rods. Awesome. Ton of ore. Almost. Those are 8s, right? Yeah, so 4, but what is that? 16? Almost 1,600, so just a little bit shy of being able to place a pure iron node, which honestly would not be the worst thing to do when we are setting up our initial base here. Like, we could put a single Mark 1 miner on a pure iron node, and that'll yield us 120 per minute, or I believe it is 120 per minute, just base, from a pure node. So we could run 4 smelters off of it, which basically gives us the rods and plates that I like to have for my starter factory, meaning like what I build to have in my main hand, or like to use in my inventory to build stuff with, you know, like that. I have, the way I design my factories typically is I build a subset of machines that make parts that I use to construct additional machines. So, like, you need iron plates, iron rods, reinforced iron plates, wire and cable, and concrete out of the early game materials in order to construct the production facilities, the miners, the power poles, all that kind of stuff, right? So I have factories that build some of that stuff just for me to use in my inventory. So there's a cargo box attached to basically one constructor making each of the various items. And that's just for personal use. Then what I do, in addition to that, is I place production lines for the rest of the factory. So, like, making reinforced iron plates takes iron plates and screws, right? So, like, those iron plates and screws aren't coming out of my personal iron plate and screw inventory boxes. They're coming from separate production lines. So I try to vertically integrate, I guess you would be another way of saying it, the production lines of everything in the game as best as I can. Now, for some things where you only need a handful of them, like, I maybe don't worry about it as much. I'll have a cargo box just as a buffer, and if I need, like, 20 of it or something, at some point I can grab it out of the buffer and it won't matter. But for things that I use actively, like iron plates, you need a shit ton of those because they're used in a lot of the buildings and the foundations and what have you. Same with like wire and cable, you need a lot of, or cable in particular, you need a fair amount of because that's what's used to link up all your power poles. So yeah, I'm just building some more screws because it's screws and iron plates to make reinforced iron plates, and you need 2 reinforced iron plates for each constructor. And I think the splitters and the mergers, one of the two, or maybe both, also take a reinforced iron plate to construct. So having some reinforced iron plates on you is a good thing, even before you're able to build Mark II belts. So there we go. We'll make 6 of them. It'll clean out most of those screws and almost all of the iron, but that's fine. But I believe that is all the milestones for Tier 1. So we have completed Tier 1 thus far on our playthrough. Not terrible, not terrible. We'll take a look at the timer after we build these plates, just so you can get an idea of how long it took us to do it. And I mean, we could have done it a bit faster, but we were faffing around. But there we go. We've got 7 turbines up there. Let's see. Hour 33, 10 minutes. Or 1 hour, 33 minutes, 10 seconds. Not 10 minutes, 10 seconds. I can read. Lol. I know what time is. Do I? Do I, though? Do I really? I don't know. Does anybody? Better question. Nah, okay. I'm just going to convert, like, the various, like, leaves and wood and stuff into biomass. There's no real reason to carry the raw material with you when you could convert it into biomass. Biomass burns better or more efficiently anyway, so if you're going to end up burning stuff, you might as well do that. And you use biomass to make the solid biofuel, which I think the chainsaw does require solid biofuel. Like, that's the only thing it'll run on. Like, you can't actually use biomass for that, but you need a handful of biomass in order to make the biofuel, so we got that taken care of now. Now, on the milestones, let's take a look. So, Tier 1 is done. We could go to Tier 2. I think it probably makes the most sense to go part assembly next. Yeah, I think we'll go part assembly next. Concrete, which we probably have. Yeah, we do. Almost have the... Might be able to build the cable. No, not quite, it looks like. Let's go grab some resources from the factory and see if we can't get obstacle clearing researched as well. Might as well, like, we have basic production kind of set up, right? It's not super effective yet. We could spend time and upgrade these production lines as opposed to just looting these resources out and doing milestones and blah, blah, blah. But I figure we might as well try to get some of these milestones done. That way when we go to build our factory, we have access to all the buildings that we might want to use. Is kind of the thought. I don't know. Maybe that's not the right way to do it or the fastest way to do it, but we're doing good enough. So here we go. We need 100 cables. We'll build to the point where we have a little bit more than 100 cables so I can still connect power poles after we turn in the milestone. So we'll do, I don't know, until we have maybe 35 or... Sure. Good enough. So there's that. We need 500 screws. But cool. We're building the screws. We already have the concrete, so once we have 500 screws, we'll just drop that inside of the milestone turn-in location, and we'll have obstacle clearing finished as well. So fantastic. Making some decent progress. Wait, is that for... Why is that set to obstacle clearing? I wanted it to be part assembly. is what I wanted. Okay, that's a little more expensive. I was gonna say that seemed like a very inexpensive part, like milestone cost for part assembly, but that makes sense. Wasn't the actual one. Screw count is the same though, so we'll make the 500. We have to make more cable. We need 200, so we need to go grab more wire. But we need to pick up plates and rods anyhow, so that is fine. We'll turn in the screws before we go over and do that, though. And we'll maybe turn in that stack of plates. Alright, good enough. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. We'll just turn in most of that. Yeah, we need more plates and more rods. Fine. It's the waiting game. Have you played the waiting game? Are you familiar with it? Isn't it fun? Not really. It really is not. So it looks like from this charty boy, 100 megawatts is maybe our minimum production. So that is good to know. Because 100 is a lot, like, it's only 20 megawatts less, realistically speaking, than the other, but, like, that is less, so it's worth noting, or making note of. Is that with or without these biomass burners? Are they still going? They are still going. How much fuel do they have? Quite a bit, believe it or not. They have quite a bit of fuel. Interesting. I wonder, so since we've made a save for this game, right, using the variable speed setting on our wind turbines, I wonder if when I reload the game next time I play, if I go into the mod options and take old setting, so it, or like change the variation so it doesn't vary as frequently, so it's a more constant power rate. I just because like the fluctuations are, it's a cool aspect because it's something you'd have to deal with. Um, but if you didn't want to deal with it, like how to maybe make that less impactful or maybe balance it down a little bit so it's easier to deal with, perhaps. Um, I think I might be able to mess with that in the mod settings. I just don't know if it'll apply to this game or not, since the safe data has already been generated. You know what I mean. Hopefully that made sense. But I'm gonna maybe test that. So when we come back in the next stream, do not be surprised if we are generating a lot more power with our windmills. That will most likely be the case, and it will be as a result of messing with the settings on the variation and wind speed, because that does impact your power production quite significantly. I mean, if you look at that chart, we were producing 230 megawatts, right? And that's kind of the max that we'll produce with the 7 turbines that we've got in our power system at the moment. But we produce as low as 100. That's a 100 megawatt range, 100 megawatt swings. So that's quite a bit of discrepancy in your capacity or your production capabilities, which makes for a fairly unstable power network, which I don't want, because we want everything running all the time. We want it to be a very stable network, a stable one-state network where everything's always in the one state or always in the run state. That's what we're after, or what we are after with Satisfactory, pretty much. So having these discrete curves in our power production like this as a result of wind speed is what I'm guessing is driving this behavior. I could be wrong on that. It is possible that maybe it's not wind speed that's driving this behavior. It may be something completely different. But it looks like that's what it's gotta be, because it goes up and down and kind of in time with when our turbines are spinning really fast and when they're spinning really slow. So yeah, at our minimum here, we're down at 60 megawatts capacity. At our maximum, we're up around 200. So that's over 100. That's more like 180 megawatt discrepancy between your minimum and your maximum power production. That is a huge, huge swing with default settings, because I didn't play with any of that stuff before loading this game. Like, you took a look at my mod settings before we started, if you were here at the start of the stream, or if you're watching it on YouTube and you stuck around this long. Congrats and thanks, but no, like, you saw what my settings are. Like, they have not been changed. This is all live, one take, so kind of interesting. I might play with that a little bit and see if I can make it more stable, just because if the swings are that significant, like, adding another turbine probably isn't going to make that big of a difference to increasing the minimum. It will make a difference on increasing the maximum, but the maximum power isn't always present, so I can't build my factory based around the maximum value. I have to build it around the minimum value, which I'm fine to do. It's just, yeah, they require so much space. If I can't even get, like, a reasonable amount of power out of that amount, like, and the reason why the space matters is because it takes a while to traverse, is one reason. And then the other reason is the concrete and iron production to build it is quite a bit as well. So, like, yeah, I want to get power out of it. Aesthetically speaking, they look pretty cool, but, like, yeah, I want to get more power out of it if I can. Now, this stuff is outside of logistics too. Most of this stuff is kind of just optional, because we're not doing biomass burners, so we don't really need solid biofuel. You can run trucks on just biomass, so we could do that until we get coal. So I think we are just going to set logistics too. Get the better belts next. Seems like a good idea. Because the Mark II conveyors can carry 120 items per minute, whereas the Mark 1s only will do 60 per minute. So if we were to encounter a pure node of something and put a miner on it, we wouldn't actually be able to utilize all of the resources coming out of that node, or, you know, produced from the miner at the input stage, so at the miner stage, because our belts would not have sufficient capacity to carry all the items. So having Mark II conveyor belts will resolve that, because 120 is enough, or should be enough, for a Mark I miner on a pure node. I think. Could be wrong. I'm making a bit of cabling, just because we only have one. We're going to want more than that if we're going to build anything or connect machines, so make a few of those. We could do some more iron rod, I guess, and maybe build the reinforced iron plate. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Okay. I wish there were earlier stage batteries as a part of refined power. Like, if I had batteries unlocked at the same time as these turbines, it wouldn't be a big deal that we have this fluctuation, because I could build batteries to compensate for the minimum down here, right? I could scale that up, because if I have enough battery capacity while the production's at its maximum, it'll charge up the batteries and it'll averager this, so the minimum would, or like the min value would lie more like here, so around 130, 140, which is a lot more comfortable off of 7, as opposed to that's more like 20 megawatts average for each one, as opposed to only like not even 10, like 8 or 9. So it just feels a little bit better on the resource cost, but I don't get batteries until coal power. After coal power might actually be when you unlock refineries. I don't know. I don't remember. But it's definitely not after completing phase 1 or phase 2. Or maybe it's after phase 2. But that's a ways off yet. We don't even have the machines to build the parts to build a space elevator with those things yet. Let alone the materials and resources required to build the space elevator, because that takes a lot as well. So, no worries, we'll get there. It's all just about letting your machines tick over and produce the resources for you. You can always, like, you scale you let your machines tick over, produce the resources for you, and then you scale your production capacity while that time is passing. That's basically what you do in this game, or what I do in this game. Maybe not everyone does the same thing, but that's how I like to do it, or enjoy it. But do you, because you should. Alright, let's go up here. We're going to extend out our power a little bit more, since we do have the resources to kind of afford the foundations and blah, blah, blah. So these are on 8s. As you can see, it takes a while just to run to the end of this platform. Not that I have to run to the end of this in order to build the next turbine, it's just, that's kinda what needs to happen. There we go. Plug in one more. Awesome. So our ramp is right here. What I could do... do 10. Actually, that makes sense. 10 would be the number, because if 5 is the floor, that gives you 5 height above. So, yeah, 10. 10 would do, yeah. What is this one doing? So it's elevation 151.24 meters, wind speed 69%, not bad. Just over 20 megawatts, dropping because the wind speed's dropping, but that's fine. If I only go out 7, is that sufficient? So this is efficiency. Why is this going down so much? This has to be pretty far away from everything, yeah? Yeah, it should be. I don't understand why this efficiency, like, varies like this. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. So if you understand why it's doing that, please let me know in the comment section of the video, if you would. Because I'm curious. Like, the mod's pretty cool. I like the concept of using these windmills to generate power. I just want to know, like, how I can maximize this efficiency. Like, I know that they have a requirement to be so far apart and be up in the air and have wind and blah, blah, blah. But, like, is this what I'm doing now sufficient? That's fine. Whatever. We'll see where our minimum goes. So that added another 3 turbines is all we were able to get out of all those resources. And it's mainly because of the iron plates. Really, we should go and invest the resources at this point to scale our iron production. So what we can do, since we have 2 nodes improved, I could take one of the smelters, or basically we can get 4 smelters making iron ingots with the 2 miners that we have right now, and that'll utilize all the resources that are being produced. So if I put 4 smelters on, I can put 3 of those smelters feeding iron plates, or iron plate factory lines, and one of those smelters feeding 2 iron rod lines, or 3 iron rod lines. I forget if it's 10 or if it's 15 that they consume, but it's one of those 2. I just don't know which. And basically we can run like double our iron production, I believe. Double our rod production, or it's either double or triple. It might be triple, actually. But let's show you how to do that real quick. So here we go. We've got our iron ore box, Coolio. This is doing 60 per minute, and this smelter is only requiring 30 per minute. So what we do is we splitter it. And what I'm going to do, just to make this a little bit cleaner, first off, I'm going to get rid of that. And we're going to replace the smelters. And I could build foundations for all this stuff. I'm not too worried about it, if I'm honest. Come on, snap. I should turn down my sensitivity is what I should do, but can't be bothered.
Picking up multiple Fix-It personnel in the area. Proceed with harvest before it's too late.
Okay. And then all we really need is a splitter. I'm just going to put the splitter right here. It doesn't really matter. Boom. Oh, lame. It won't auto-snap that. Why not? Should be able to make that bend. Apparently not. The other way we could do this just place the one. I am not too concerned about clipping. If that's something that bothers you, I'm sorry. This is going to trigger the heck out of you, but it works. So there we go. Now we got 2 smelters making ingots. This is going to make us 60 iron ingots a minute. This one takes 30 a minute, so we can run a second constructor. I do need a merger on this belt so I can put in our plates. And you might be thinking this is a bit overkill, meaning that, like, do I really need 40 iron plates a minute coming in just to be able to build with? And the answer to that question is yes, I kind of do. I'm going to move this box back. Give us a little more working room. I need a merger, not a splitter. Let's go that way. Boom and boom. Okay, there's one. Let's get the other one. So, let's actually look at this. How much does this rod factory require? So it takes 15 a minute. I could build a second one without actually building a second smelter. But I'll take, so right now I'm doing 40 plates a minute and 15 rods a minute. So if I double our rods, that will take us up to 30 rods, 40 plates. If I think it probably makes sense to do 2 rods. Well, we'll place them and see how it goes. Okay.
Harvest.
This is starting to get messy with power poles. That's okay. we go. So the question is, with this smelter we just hooked up, do I want to get 2 additional iron rod factories or 1 additional plate factory? And I think the answer is 2 additional rod factories, because what I can do,
World President urges all citizens to do their part and harvest alien artifacts.
if I throw a splitter on this one, build a power pole, connect this to that power pole. This guy can make iron rods, and we're going to store these 2 constructors will be the iron rods we're going to store for iron rods in our crafting recipes, right? The next 2 iron rod factories are actually going to go through 2 stages of crafting. So the first stage is just going to make iron rods. I can't actually afford that. Lame. I'm out of cables, so we need more copper. It's fine. We'll grab it. Pick up the iron and such while we're here, though, because might as well. Grab our copper. We're going to do the copper side of the factory next. I just try to prioritize the iron side first, because the iron side allows you to build like the belts and the machines that you need, whereas you don't need as many cables as you need conveyor belts. Hopefully that makes sense. With that being said, you still need a fair amount of cable just to link up all the various machines, but we'll make maybe 100, call it good. Awesome. Back to work. I do kind of want to check out our power chart and just see where our new min is. So we're on the maximum trend right now, so we'll wait until it pops down to a minimum again. Okay. Back to what we were doing. Constructor time. Cool. So these 2 will both make iron rods. And we're going to get 15 iron rods out of each one a minute, which is respectable. Okay. So we got that. Then what we're going to do, I believe screws require 10 per minute. So we're getting 30 per minute if we merge these 2 into a single belt, which may seem counterintuitive as we need less than what's actually coming in off of these for each factory. But by merging them into a single belt that has 30, I can then split it in a next stage. So basically you do this, and then I can put this into 3 factories, each making screws. So I was so close to hitting the snap. Do 1, 2. There's going to be foliage in the way, but we can put 1 here too. Set all of these to make screws. Place a power pole. And like I said, I don't mind about clipping, so the belt will just run through this pole, but that's fine. It'll work just the same. Then just simply boom, boom, boom. Now all we need to do something like this. Splitter, connected to this smelter. Come on, snap. Snap, please. You can do it. Why won't you snap? Fine. There we go. Alright, perfect. Now we've got iron going in. Once these guys get the iron, they will turn the iron into 30 iron rods a minute. And those 30 iron rods a minute will be turned into 120 screws per minute. So 120 screws is more than we can actually insert with our shitty Mark 1 conveyors. So we actually need to get logistics 2 in order to fully handle the input to this storage container. But that's okay. We're just gonna merge it all together anyhow and call it good. And this is all like fairly temporary. I know I could have made it permanent since we are taking the time to build it fresh, but like I don't have the concrete that I need in order to build the structure for the base that I want. So yeah, there's that. But I still want to be able to progress while I'm waiting for the concrete that I need to be made. So, like, setting these factories up now makes sense, even if they're ultimately going to be moved later. Because all I really need to do, right? So, I could just leave these here. In fact, I could just leave all of this infrastructure here and then basically build the base up in the air. So, like, build some foundations up into the sky and kind of have a sky base. So maybe set it at one of the Y levels that we picked for these platforms with the windmills on it, and kind of just go from there and build our actual base there. And these resources that are being stored in these buffer chests, I can use conveyor lifts and lift them up into the base that's off of the ground. And if I need them for further production, or just put them in a buffer in a storage room or whatever it's going to be, right? So I could do something like that. Alternatively, I can just break all of it in place over foundations and make it look pretty later, which is maybe what I'll end up doing. I don't know. I haven't decided, but looks like our minimum's at 130 megawatts now, which is quite a bit better. We are on max bin of copper ore, so that's great. We could build a pure node if we wanted. What we're probably going to do here, so 15 per minute to make wire, and we get 30 per minute out of that. So we could run 2 wire factories for each smelter of copper ore. And we can run 2 smelters, correct? Yeah, 2 smelters. So let's go ahead and build the second smelter. Come on. There you go. Okay. Can I fit a splitter on that? Yeah, not quite. I might be able to on this one. Yep. Okay, there we go. So there's that sorted. So now copper is being smelted efficiently. We're going to break this wire smelter real quick. And we're going to break this belt. And we're going to put our copper production facilities over here. So I'm going to put 2 of these guys down on this side. And that's just going to make copper wire for us to use in our inventory. And then, oh, I don't actually have enough things. Dang. I need more reinforced iron. Which we can make. We'll do that in a moment. Let's go ahead and connect these up. So boom. This will be 1 smelter. Perfect. Fill them up. Set the recipe to not cable, but to wire. Wire. So that'll use 30 copper ingots a minute and produce 60 wire a minute. Awesome. We're going to make a storage container right over here. We're going to put a second one on top. Like that. We do need a merger. Okay, boom. There we go. So now we're storing wire. Perfect. This one's going to be used to make cable, but we need to go make some refined iron first. what we can do to speed up that process, since we do have screws being made automatically now, and quite a handed amount of them, I might add. 120 per minute is nothing to laugh about. We can speed up that reinforced iron plate production quite a bit. I maybe should have grabbed iron plates before coming all the way over here, but that's okay. Yeah. Probably should have. I only have 30 iron plates. Let's grab some iron plate. I'm just looking, because if we can potentially finish the Logistics Mark II milestone, I can get our screw storage system right here looking a lot better. 15, 15. They're all getting iron. Yep. Everything looks to be doing what it's supposed to. But as you can see, these belts are super backed up like this because this belt isn't able to actually handle the input that it's getting. It's getting 120 items in a minute, but it can only actually move 60. Or 60 a minute. So that's what the problem is. That's what the problem is. This one's fine because it's only dealing with 30 or 60 wires a minute as opposed to 100. Once you go beyond, a Mark 1 conveyor can move 60 items a minute or whatever. So if you have more than that being made or produced or trying to be pushed through the belt, they're not all going to fit. So you're going to get backlogged. Let's go ahead and make some iron plates, or reinforced iron plates rather, mainly because I need them for more constructors to finish out the copper side of the factory. But also we might be able to build enough screws with the rods in our inventory to actually finish the milestone. So we might try to do that because getting the upgraded belts would be useful to us. They do take reinforced iron plates to build, so we won't be able to use them too frequently, but still, let's go ahead and put in some of this stuff and kind of just see where we're at. So we don't quite have the iron plates that we need outright for it as it is, but we might be able to make the reinforced iron plates. Or we need 25 and it takes, what, 6 iron each? Yeah, we won't be able to. I don't believe. We'll run out of iron plate, is what the issue will be. Oh, fine. Well, maybe. We only need to make 15. Okay, let's do it.